Why do we believe something? Is it because we've been told to believe it? Is it because we want to believe it? Is it because someone else wants us to believe it? Well, when it comes to everything that really matters on this planet, it all has to do with what someone else wants us to believe, for the simple reason that things can't continue on unless we keep making the same mistakes. So, we're in quite a dilemma, aren't we? Long ago, our ancestors made a mistake. They fell in love with it. They got addicted to it. And what do addicts do? They ran to denial. And then they were in a position to do something unthinkable, which they should never do. And that is to pass that mistake on down to their children. And now it becomes part of our traditions. So that's what happens to the vast majority of us. We start our journey off in life on the wrong path with this false knowledge, with these false beliefs. And that's what allows us to make the mistakes and then end up in the dark ages with hundreds of thousands of problems that are virtually, most of them, 100% within our control. And it all has to do with our belief system. It's the biggest obstacle we have. Why do we believe something? Is it because of these 1,000 media clips that we are bombarded with every day, telling us the same thing over and over and over? We have to really pause and reflect and ask ourselves, why are we believing something just because everyone else does? I love what Mark Twain said. Anytime you find yourself on the side of the majority, it's time to pause and reflect. And I add, ask ourselves, what the hell's going on? What are we doing? Why are we playing follow the leader off the cliff? Why can't we see that we're making a simple mistake? How is our belief system keeping us where we are? Even a belief system that has something not quite to do with what I'm talking about, it will have part of what I am talking about in it, and if it's in conflict, that person goes, boy, I just love this belief system so much, and this is in conflict, so that's not true. So this is how our belief system gets in our way. We have way too many false beliefs that take away our responsibility. I've created a whole playlist on this whole theme that we've got to question everything. We have to realize that there's valuable knowledge we need, and people are making sure we believe things a certain way. For example, money is the absolute tool of control. The people who rule the world use that then to own and control everything so they can continue to brainwash us. That's why one of the first things we have to do downstream is break away from the way things are, which is what Lincoln did, and it's what Kennedy did, it's what Germany did and Japan did. Look what happened. And look at the history books. And we believe it. We believe this tripe because it's drilled into our brain every day over and over and over and over. And with that many references, I'm telling you, my friends, that's a hard belief system to break away from. You know, if our beliefs were like a tabletop, all these references would be the legs, and then the emotion would be the glue that sticks the table to the ground. The problem we have is we've got these humongous legs that support our beliefs, and it's all bogus. And it's contrived, it's paid for. What you believe right now about all of the things that you think is important to you, I'm talking about the vast majority of people, have no idea that those beliefs have been implanted in you to keep you where you are and in this hell that we've created. And the knowledge I'm talking about can lead us to a paradisical type of life or existence, the way it used to be. That's why in history we always hear about a golden age. Well, what made it so special? We twisted the word paradise around so much we think it's something magical. Oh, there's no paradise. Well, if you just use my definition for it and say paradise is a place without problems within our control, then we'd realize, my God, what a great world this would be, because 95% of our problems are within our control, my friends. And how do you wrap your brain around that? You can't. But you can do something and prove to yourself what I'm saying is true. Within a week, you have a light bulb moment. Within several months, a good percentage of y'all are going to have a huge aha moment, especially if you're really, really sick, because most of that will go away. I'm telling you, my friends, this is really something that is exciting. And you can go down below in the description box and go to a seminar I gave that will tell you how to do it. But first, listen to the Dr. Roba interview. This man was on day 21 of what is my specialty. I was coaching him at the time, and he was being interviewed by these two women, and you just got to listen to this man where he says, I'm on day 21, I've lost 20 pounds, my cholesterol has dropped 100 points, my blood pressure's back to what it was in high school, I'm in my 50s, I'm a medical miracle, no more backache, no more headache, my cousin's doing this within 1 week, actually right off the bat, she's on the 1 week mark now, but she's been suffering migraine headaches every day since her first pregnancy. I don't know how long ago that was, but every day, and they went away. I'm telling you, my friends, our cells are literally floating in crap, because that's what surrounds all of our cells, our sewage system. And we're polluting our whole body so that the organs that filter this lymph system, our sewage system the organs fail, and then the lymph system gets dirty, and then that backs up into the cells, and that's what's leading to virtually all of our problems. Simple solution. And think about this, why doesn't our so-called experts in the field of medicine study the lymph system? Why don't they study the concept of totality? Why is it when you go to the person who specializes in your eye, doesn't know anything about your colon and your kidneys, but most importantly, the fluids that surround the eye on the other side, the lymph system? You see, this is the problem we have. And this isn't complicated. The Germans understood this back in the mid-1800s, and Dr. Henry Lindner brought that information over and started up some colleges. And a lot of you guys have studied, came from Lindner's college. And they understood this way back then. They understood the role the lymph system plays, and then that's how it backs up. It only makes sense. Come on, think about it. Our body's nothing but a bunch of cells and two fluids. The blood brings in the food, and everything that consumes has to eliminate. It eliminates into the lymph system. That's our sewage system. And just like a sewage system in nature or our septic tank in our house, there are bacteria in there for a reason, because that's their job. They're the janitors. They eat up garbage. Well, we've got the same guys inside of our lymph nodes. That's the purpose of a lymph node. It has bacteria in there, and it will convert our acid waste matter that comes in at about a 3 pH up to about a 6 pH, so it won't burn the kidneys and it can process it. But what we're doing, my friends, is we're eating the wrong food. We damage our organs that help keep the system clean. If we end up with gallstones, kidney stops functioning, the liver stops functioning, the lymph system gets congested. It can only handle so many particles of crap in there. It's supposed to be real clean. Remember, our cells are supposed to be floating in a clean sewage system. And it's not. Our cells are literally floating in crap. Shit. I mean, that's what it is. And what happens is there's so much tension that can take place inside the lymph system, and once it goes above the toleration point, it has to release that excess, like a steam safety valve is designed to let off steam in an engine. Our lymph system has to do the same thing. And where can the lymph system go? Well, there's only two things it can do. It can create a hardened mass, which we call a tumor, or it can then exit into the tissues that it surrounds, which is mostly what it does. And in its wisdom, it says, let me find a lining membrane, a tissue membrane that will go into an organ that will exit the body. And what do we got? Nose and sinus eruptions, germs and bacteria, poppycockers. No, this is lymph system backing up into these organs to be eliminated. We call these fontanelles, alternative channels of elimination. The skin, one of the biggest fontanelles, and we see it all the time. What happens when you have something on your skin? Where can it come from? Is it coming from outside? No, it's coming from inside on the other side of the cell. The lymph system. That's why we see so many things that are red, because it's an acid burn. And then, of course, if it goes into the lungs, our so-called specialists call it pneumonia, and they'll put you in the hospital and suppress your symptoms and feed you, and you'll die. That's why it's the 6th or 7th leading cause of death. But yet, when you look at Dr. John Tilden, who saw more pneumonia patients than any doctor living, didn't lose one of them. Why? Because he quit feeding them and gave them an enema, made sure that they got rid of that garbage. So, our belief system is so messed up. our experts are not the experts. They have no idea how the system works. Again, the body looks for alternative channels of elimination. Now, in addition to what I just described, we would call a short-term self-limited disease, a cold or a flu, meaning that it runs its course over a few days. We also have what I've labeled as 4 long-term stages of disease, and that's when the lymph system backs up into the tissues and the body goes through inflammation, ulceration, induration, and then we got the stage where we have the tumors, the cysts, the fibroids, the nodules, the calcifications, things like that. So that's a whole disease process right there, and I explain this in a little more detail in 2 videos I'll link down below in the description box. Healing Secrets Revealed and Medicine is the Ultimate Tool of Control. I've already talked about how important money is and how money is the absolute tool of control, and how our belief system has been manipulated so we won't look at certain figures that did certain things, like Germany and Japan, who broke away from the way the money system is set up based on debt. It should be debt-free, not debt-based currency, and that's why we're in the horrible dilemma we are in right now. Now, a lot of people understand that's an important piece of the puzzle, and they're a lot closer to seeing the big picture. But too many people focus on stuff that doesn't even matter. Most of what we do to try to solve problems is a distraction. At best, all we're doing is making life in hell a little bit better. We got to stop wasting all of our time doing anything but getting reconnected. It's so important. I thought about this for 26 years very hard, and I condensed it down to this simplistic concept. If we're not getting reconnected, we're getting distracted. It's that simple. So we got to go upstream. We got to learn how to live, and when we learn how to live, that's how we get reconnected. Remember, the first of 5 main mistakes we made destroyed a nutrient that feeds one of our senses, so we've lost one of our senses. That's why we struggle on the wrong path. And if we don't address that issue, it's a joke to talk about this and that and this and that. Don't waste your time. Don't get distracted. Go upstream and see what happens. I'm telling you, my friends, most of us don't know what we're missing. That's the biggest problem that virtually all of us have. We can't evaluate what we're doing and what we need to do and think it's a fair trade to do this instead. That's why you gotta test an idea whose time has come. An idea whose time has come is stronger than all the armies in the world, but it's something that enough of us are willing to do so we can reach the tipping point, because if we don't reach the tipping point, things will never change. Do I get passionate about this? Of course I do, because I know we've got a simple solution. And I know how hard it is for people to wrap their brain around living the right way. So I said, let's just do something on a temporary basis. It's 10 times faster. The light bulb goes off in about a week. The aha in several months. And when that happens, you finally realize that we've been using the wrong approach, thinking that the experts our so-called experts were a solution to a problem that we created. And with that realization, we actually become the hero that only we can be. By definition, a hero is someone who can solve a problem that no one else can solve. Well, our problems are self-inflicted. That means we've got to solve them. We are the hero. So the most important part of my message is we need a brand new reference. Go down below and listen to my seminar and do this for the appropriate length of time. And when we do that, then we change our whole mentality. We realize we've been using the wrong approach when we expect systems to solve problems that only we can solve. I label that as piece 8.1 in the Ultimate Schematic. So if you want to learn more about that, you can go to the Ultimate Schematic playlist down below and the Ultimate Solution down below, where it's an 11-part video series, 3 hours and 46 minutes long. 9 of those 11 videos is where I go back and identify all 281 of those pieces. Now, you don't have to do any of that if you don't want to. The only thing you really need to do is, again, have that brand new reference so you can stop thinking someone else is going to come and save the day. We're the ones we're looking for. We just got to change what we do. And then once that happens, we realize, okay, now I know that none of these systems out there will ever be able to solve our problems, because the solution to all those problems lies within each and every one of us. And I've said this every time I close, and I'm going to keep saying it. When you guys test this idea whose time has come, you're in for a treat.